All right. So welcome to Our Planet, Our Future. It is January 5th, 2021. I have to, remember that now. Wow, I am so happy to be here with you all. And oh, my goodness. I feel like I need to run around outside or something. It's like I'm just very excited. I was actually just listening before this to this amazing event that's going on right now. It's called Focus on Fauci. It's this 2-hour broadcast that these people are doing, basically just sharing with doctors, and Robert Kennedy is on there sharing a lot of facts about and stories and history and personal interactions with Dr. Fauci, and all kinds of stuff about the virus and the vaccine, and basically the development of it over time, the human development of it over time, not the organic development of it over time. And this call is not going to be about that, but it really, I got so excited because, when I stopped the video, Robert Kennedy was speaking, and he was talking about, autism and autoimmune diseases and food allergies. And he was saying, we have he gave this whole long history of, how Fauci basically controls health in the world. And I highly recommend listening if you're interested, and puck and pot everything this is bringing up. But he said, when he started his work, when Fauci started his work, the rates of autism were 1 in 10,000 children, and now they're 1 in 34. And that's since, I don't know, early 80s maybe. And his point was, you can't get the information as to why that is, and the degradation basically of health, the degradation of our bodies, the degradation of consciousness, the degradation of humanity and the planet and the future, that has gone on. And all of these big corporations, and a lot of people have been watching these documentaries that have come out about the soil and desertification of the planet, and the chemicalization of food and all these things, and it's, I am getting so excited about all of it, because it's coming out. There's conversations happening now in the world that have been such a long time coming. And, when you function from awareness, and you function from question, and maybe you don't even know you function from awareness, but you have awareness, you are aware. All of these things that come up, it's they don't make sense, it doesn't make sense that there's a pandemic. It doesn't make sense that there's an economic, complete global economic destruction. It doesn't make sense that there's, autism has skyrocketed and all these things. None of it makes sense to a lot of us because it's a lie. And you only know, I'm not going to project anything that, anything that's true for me. It's true for me. It's not, I won't say that it's true for you. I wish for you to have your awareness truly above everything. And that's what I love about the tools of Access Consciousness, is that they give us the gift of knowing what we know and knowing that we know. And when you know, and you discover that, it's a whole new world, as so many of us have discovered, because all of a sudden, all these things that come up in your world that where there's this rub or there's this dissonance, it starts to make sense because you're actually aware of what is true. And these are these moments where we get to, and again, like the tools of access have been so amazing because it's this constant invitation to know that we know, and to recognize that when something doesn't make sense to you, it's not because you're crazy. It's not because you're dumb. It's not because you can't get the world. It's not because you're, whatever, incompetent. It's because you're actually brilliant. You're actually aware. You can't actually be lied to because when you're lied to, there's an energy there. Now, you may not cognitively know, but there's an energy there of, wait a minute, something doesn't quite like seem right here. Yeah, and I'm not talking about, you guys, someone said the tools of access include autism as being X-Men. How is that not a gift? It is. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm an X-Men facilitator. I can talk for days about how autism is a gift. But what I'm saying is, it's like this, I'm just using that as part of the example of what has happened over the past, decades on the planet. And I'm not saying we're worse off than we were in, than 1980 or whatever. In so many ways, there's so many amazing things that have been created and that we've all stepped into. And that's really where I want to go here. But I want to give this context because so often I've had so many conversations that with other people and, myself included, like being on the receiving end, where somebody invites you to recognize that the tiniest little energetic niggle in your world is your awareness of a lie, or is your awareness of something that actually could be different, or is your unique awareness. And what is required is for the creation and the actualization of a different future, the future that is ours, on the planet that is ours, is for you to actually know that and for you to know what and to live that. And that doesn't mean that we all have to go shouting from the rooftops. Like, it shows up in a really different way for everybody. But please know that, and I guess because for me, growing up, it was so, I've talked about this in a lot of different ways, but I would look around and be really confused at the world. I'm sure I'm the only one. and I'd be like, okay, I don't understand. I don't know how to do this. Like, can someone tell me how to do this whole like relating thing? Because I was just like, there was always so much judgment that I was aware of. And I was just like, I don't know how to do that. And X-Men, and I can talk a little bit about what X-Men are, but X-Men don't inherently know how to do judgment. X-Men actually naturally have no judgment. But what we learn and we perceive judgment dynamically, and then we think it's ours and we learn and all this stuff. And I just want to like also back up and say, if somebody has just like stumbled upon this, or I should have probably started here, but this is a conversation using about the tools of access consciousness, which is a massive, massive just like body of work in a way, but it's constantly evolving. And that is really about knowing that you know, and functioning from awareness, and functioning like as the different creature that you actually be on the planet right now, and the gift that that is. So if you don't know what access consciousness is, welcome to a whole new world. But also, you can, the website accessconsciousness.com. And also there's a clearing statement that we use that you don't have to know how it works. It goes like this: right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, POC, pod, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And it's like a condensed version of pages and pages of clearings that literally like deletes energy. It's like everything that we do in Access is about energy, but a very pragmatic way of playing with energy. And you can go to theclearingstatement.com if you want to find out how it works, but you don't even need to know how it works. It just works, and you'll see it. We'll weave it through here today. But one of the conversations in Access Consciousness, one of the kind of like specialty areas, is X-Men. And X-Men is, I'm a facilitator of X-Men, and this wasn't intended to be like an X-Men call, but I weave it into everything I do, especially these days, because X-Men are basically the different ones in the world. And, both people who have been diagnosed with ADD, ADHD, OCD, autism, and other diagnoses, mental illness, things like that. But also like all of us, and I didn't actually think I was an X-Men because I didn't ever have a diagnosis. I thought I was pretty darn normal. And also like didn't realize how different I was. And then when I got exposed to the X-Men conversations, it opened up universes for me, and started facilitating it. But it's basically the recognition that you are a different creature than the rest of the world. You are a unique creature, the likes of which has never existed before. You are one of a kind, and that is a massive gift. And everywhere that you don't get the world is everywhere that you are phenomenal. That's where your greatness shows up. Everywhere that you've judged yourself as being wrong is where you actually are right. Not that we're, and right and wrong is a limitation as well, but it's like your wrongness is actually your strongness. And all these places where we have all this awareness, like X-Men have very, very dynamic awareness, but we use it against ourselves because nobody talks to us about it. And so as we move, as we like move through the world, it's like and one of the like tendencies of X-Men very dynamically is to judge themselves, very dynamically. So everything that doesn't match out here, you go into judgment of you, or you start to doubt you. And this is the very mechanism by which this global agenda of the destruction of people, the destruction of the planet, has actually gotten to gain so much momentum, is because all of the most powerful people on the planet, I hate to say it, sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but it's actually us. And everything that brings up and lets down, can we destroy it, uncreate it? Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, POC, pod, shorts, boys, and beyonds. You guys are like, don't tell me that. But we are actually, and you might be like, okay, fuck off. That applies to everybody else but me, but like, let's just suspend judgment and doubt for the purposes of this conversation. I know you didn't want to hear that. I know, it's so funny. I was like, y'all are like stone faced, you're like, oh, that doesn't apply to me. Never, I'm not gonna laugh. I'm not gonna smile. Faith is thrilled. Okay, good. But that's the thing, you guys, it like, because how, like, we can all look at that and go, how the fuck could I be one of the most powerful people on the planet? I don't have billions of dollars. I don't have a position of power. Well, that actually is, it's fake power. It's completely powerless power. It's completely pathetic power. It's power that can be destroyed like that if the rest of the world that are the aware ones, that actually people that desire consciousness and function from consciousness, actually stand up and go, hello, and expose all of the lies, which is what's happening right now. So I'm so, it's so cool. I was like, God, it's like this beautiful, like, this morning has been so cool. I got together, there's a group of people called the Maestros, whatever, not from definition, but we all did a class called the Maestro class in November, and we get together and we do these energetic things, energetic sort of like trades and sessions and stuff, and we were on this morning playing with like exposing, like contributing energetically to the exposure of all the lies in the world. And then right after that, this Focus on Fauci event started. And then this, it's been like, I'm like, yay, it's X-Men heaven. But it's our time, guys. It's our time. And you don't, like I said, you don't have to shout it from the rooftops. You don't have to like go do Facebook lives and YouTube videos and you know. And you can, like, please do, if that's what you're drawn to do, like do whatever you're drawn to do. And it may just be like walking through the world as the totally different creature that you are and having a lot of fucking fun doing it, you know, because that actually is one of the greatest invitations to people. And exactly, Cass says, these are the times we were made for. Exactly, it is. I keep saying it's our time. It is. It really is. And this is why all the stuff that's coming, like whenever I hear like more news about, you know, more information about whatever, like there's so much coming out right now. I watched a video yesterday of Bill Gates giving a presentation to the CIA in 2005 about a virus and a vaccine that he was developing that would vaccinate people against religious fundamentalism. It would actually change their brain. Yeah, but I know, right? It's like, what the hell? Like how, who, but see, this is the thing. We all go like, how could that even be a thing? And a lot of times, this is a more advanced conversation, but I'm just going to trickle this in here because a lot of times that stuff we don't want to believe. Like, it's sort of like, I can't even imagine that anybody would want to do that, you know, of course, because that's not how you function at all. At all. But here's the thing, guys, when you're not willing to be certain energies, you won't perceive those energies. And so we're all like, but let's be kind and let's be nice and let's be, you know, a contribution and let's be, you know, let's be like, let's create greater, you know. You would never be evil or destructive or, but if that is an energy that you absolutely refuse to be, then everywhere that it exists, you can't see it. You won't be aware of it. So this is part of the beauty of actually, and we have this amazing conversation in Access called Being You, Changing the World. It's a book that Dr. Dane Heer wrote. It's a class that he facilitates and other, there's Being You facilitators. I'm a Being You facilitator. A lot of us that facilitate those classes. And that is, it's a conversation of being willing to be everything. Because sometimes there are energies that seem like they would have no place in the world that are required. Like it, so let's take the energy of evil, you know, where we're all like, no, I would never be evil, you know? Okay, well, Would you be evil? Would you be so evil to destroy the global movement of destruction? Would you be so evil to destroy that? Would you be so evil to know what you know? Would you be so evil to know everything? Like for me, I'm going to speak for myself. I don't see the virus and the pandemic. Like there's so many lies. Like I don't have fear about it. I don't have fear about the virus. I don't have fear about the pandemic. I trust consciousness. That's evil. That's evil. But when you are willing to be that, because somebody else would call that evil. Evil is just a point of view, right? But when you're willing to be that, then you're also willing to perceive it in the world where it exists and expose it. And you, with your very awareness, being willing to look at something and shine this incredibly nurturing light of your own awareness on something, exposes it. So all of us, and especially if you're willing to be as potent as you are, right? So we have this, if you think of, so whatever, and there's a, how is that evil not being in fear? Exactly, Shirley. Exactly. Case in point. You don't get it because you are different. But a lot of other people would be like, you're not afraid, you're not going to comply, and you are being evil to the rest of the world because they might get coronavirus because of you. That's the global narrative right now. Like if you don't comply, then you might expose other people. Like there was a thing this morning on the Fauci thing where the woman was getting a vaccine and she was like, I'm doing this for the elderly. And when it's your turn to get your vaccine, you will do it for the elderly too, And I'm like, no, actually, no, not interested in becoming a robot. That's not one of my targets for this lifetime, and so, that, but that's evil to the rest of the world, being like, absolutely not. Nobody will inject anything into my veins, but that is not participating in the righteousness of taking care of the rest of the world from the narrative of fear. So what's beyond that? Okay, so a couple different tracks here. Well, let me just go there. Welcome to an X-Men brain. We're all over the place, but somehow we're getting somewhere. So what's beyond that is actually beginning to, Dane here talks about this a lot, instead of fighting this reality and fighting the, everything that's going on, because we could do this with it, but that actually creates energy to fuel the agenda. Like when you do this, when you do polarity and you do resistance, you feed that which you are resisting. This is one of our greatest superpowers, you guys. And so remember how I said that X-Men don't know how to do judgment? And like people just play for the moment. Like I keep doing this on my calls. Just pretend for now that you're an X-Men. But just go along for the moment, because it's not something to define or to be like, wait, I'm not autistic. It's like, it's not that. It's like a different creature who actually desires kindness and contribution and expansion and the earth to thrive and people to thrive and connection and beauty. It's that, right? So that's a different creature. Unfortunately, that's a different creature on the planet than the rest of the world. The unfortunate part being the rest of the world, not, what we're being. So just go along with, you're here, right? You're asking for our planet, our future. You're interested in this conversation. So now, considering that you are different, and that, consider for a moment, even though you may judge yourself harshly, and you may also feel like you're judgmental of other people, and that's a story for another time, but But consider that underneath all of that, you're just really aware of judgment, that you perceive a lot of judgment because you're far, 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 far more aware than you think you are. And when nobody talks to us about awareness, when nobody invites us to know what we know, we don't grow up and like relate to ourselves from this space of, oh, I'm aware, you know. We don't relate to ourselves in that way. We just think that what's going on in here doesn't match the rest of the world. I'm wrong. And the rest of the world is like, you are correct, you know. But what's underneath this is this like massive ocean of space and allowance. And not even knowing how to judge, but using and brilliance, and then using that brilliance that is so different than everything you see in the world to figure out how all this stuff out here works. All these ways that people relate based on judgment and all the lies that you've been aware of your whole life, but you didn't know you were aware of a lie. We use our brilliance and our capacities to figure all of that out so that we can then be it. We can pretend like we know how to function in the world. We can pretend like we know how to be right when we interact with other people, all that stuff. But go to the ocean. Go to the ocean of you, the universe of you, really. And that's the space where you don't actually have the capacity truly to judge. And that may seem very far-fetched. It may seem like way, way, way far off for you. And I get it, because we live in so much judgment of ourselves, and we live in so much judgment of, you know, just awareness of judgment. But just again, like play with this for the moment, right? And if you were to cultivate that space with you every day, what begins to occur is no longer this resistance and reaction to the control and the lies and the domination and the abuse and all of that. Because you have to actually buy something as real and true in order to resist it. You have to align and agree first, and then resist and react to something. If you didn't buy it as real and true, there would be no reason to resist and react. There's nothing there. It's like, oh, that's interesting, you know. It's kind of like the analogy I use a lot is like reading a children's book and then spending the rest of your life being like, God, why did Goldilocks break the chairs? You know, like it's like you read a children's book, you put it down, you walk away, it's done, right? Because there's all these stories, you know, there's all these stories playing out, and we buy them as real and true. We lock that into our world, and then we resist. And it's no different than just a children's book, you know, all this stuff going on. What would it be like if we all the X-Men in the world were like, oh, that's hilarious. That's totally interesting and also totally not interesting at all. And I'm going to play in the ocean of allowance that I be, and the universe, and I'm actually going to, and this is, here we go now with the nurturing light of awareness. Like I'm going to shine the sunlight of my own awareness on what I desire to grow, what it is that I desire to grow. Like a plant, you starve it of sunlight and water, it does not grow. So you ignore this reality and you create a new one. And it can seem in that, you know, saying it that way, it can seem like, oh, this is a tall order, you know? But the thing is, you guys, everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. A wonderful access consciousness tool, a wonderful X-Men tool that turns off your brain if you say it enough times, takes logic out of the equation, and allows you to see that these things that are like, they seem so tiny, you're like, well, how could just me being kind to myself change the world? Massively. Because guess what? You become, the more intimacy you have with you, the more gratitude and allowance, honoring, vulnerability, and trust, those are the elements of intimacy that you have with you, the less controllable you are, the more potent you are, the more you can change the world, the more you can contribute to other people, the less you resist and fight. And that was one of the things I was noticing this morning. The guy, like the Sasha something Stone, I think his name is, he was the, like, kind of the moderator of this Focus on Fauci event. And he was saying, he was very heated, you know, he was like, here's all the news headlines, you know, he kicked it off of like, Singapore is going to vaccinate everybody and they don't get to choose, and da 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 da, you know. And there was this real like fight energy, you know. I was like, gosh, I want to like get all these people, I want to like run their bars and get access tools in their hands, you know, because these tools just allow you to be so much more potent in everything that you do and exponentialize what you be, which is where, again, we are not controllable, because as a being, if you're being the infinite being that you actually are, and you're willing to be that potent, you won't like, there's nothing that can destroy that. Everything else can be destroyed. You can't. As a being, your awareness can't, consciousness can't. It's the only thing that will never ever die, never ever go away. So it makes you a little tiny bit like invincible in a way, you know. So relaxing, right? To, it's like, you can't be destroyed. Like, even this body could go away, but you as a being, as an infinite being, you can't be destroyed by anything. And, you know, I would say the planet really can't either. I mean, it's, the earth has a consciousness that can't be destroyed. And the earth has created many, you know, there's been 5 major extinctions in the history of the planet, where all of life basically gets kind of like wiped, slate clean, and the earth regenerates, or generates itself. Doesn't regenerate, it generates, because it generates itself in a totally new way, with totally new life and a greater diversity of life. And it's constantly evolving in the direction of greater. Now, the question at the moment is, do we get to actually be part of that? And if you haven't tapped into Zach Bush, please do. He's amazing. He has like so many credentials, I can't list them all, but he is a virologist and immunologist, and he's worked with dying people. He's worked with birth. He studies the biome of the planet, and the virome, like the, you know, all these viruses that just float on the wind, you know, and are part of our bodies and our makeup. And he's everything. I love that. He's brilliant. And, you know, let's not make him greater than us either. Like, don't make him greater than you, because you're fucking great too, in your own way, you know? So, but he talks a lot about this, and, you know, he basically says, like, this is our, in a way, like, this is our time, this is our moment of, we can either create a reality where we get to thrive with the planet. We get to actually be part of the evolution of the planet towards something far greater, or we are, we sink with the ship, and we go under with the destruction that is going on right now. And it truly is our choice, every single one of us. And your choice is critical, because the more of us that are choosing to live this like universe and this ocean of possibility, and asking questions, and getting out of judgment of our, like, actually realizing that judgment never was true and never will be for us, and like basically stop trying to be human, stop trying to be of this reality, and acknowledge I'm so different. And what I know is a gift to the world. And you may not be able to put in words what it is that you know. And please know that that's okay. X-Men, and people that function like, you do, like, they don't, like, language is a limitation, and it can be a beautiful, I mean, I think about all the words that have been said, in all the classes that I've taken and these beautiful conversations. And it's like, fuck, words can be a real gift too. But there's also like this, all these conversations that we have, there are these energies, that's really what's occurring here, is all these energies that are being woven. And I'm sort of entertaining your minds, with the words, and also expanding things. But it's because when you hear something that is true for you, it makes you feel lighter. And I did a Facebook Live, I talked about this some last night. It lightens up your world. Something that's true for you will make you feel lighter. Something that's a lie for you will create like a sense of contraction in your world. And know that. And these are all energetic things that go on where we don't know, like, nobody ever asks us what we're aware of as kids. If somebody did when you were a kid, brilliant, that's wonderful, um, but yeah, Karen says, I'm pretty nonverbal. It was a major handicap in public school because people don't acknowledge the universe of people that tend to be nonverbal. And it's funny because I talk a lot. I do a lot of videos and Facebook Lives and classes, and I do a lot of talking about this stuff. And yet I love silence. I love silence. I love, like, last night I was just sitting here. I was like alone in my house. I was so happy to just, I rarely get to be alone here. And I was like, just so happy. And silence can be such a gift. But the rest of the world doesn't always, that's kind of wrong. Like, silence in the world, in the human reality, it's quite wrong. It's like we need to have all this noise going on. There's a cacophony out there of noise, of lies, of invalidation, of abuse, of misinformation, designed to get you into fear, designed to get you into doubt, designed to get you into compliance. And if, when any of it pings you, please know that you're onto something. And this is where you got to trust yourself. And so I want to talk for a moment too about distractor implants. Okay, there's a book in Access Consciousness that's called Living Beyond Distraction, and I highly recommend it. And if you have taken the Access Consciousness Foundation class, you've gotten some of this information. And so the distractor, so it's about the distractor implants. So distractor implants are basically the sum total of this reality, of what's possible in this reality. And I'm really bad at rattling all of them off. Blame, shame, regret, guilt, fear, doubt, jealousy, love, peace, sex, relationship, life, death, reality, addictive, compulsive, obsessive, perverted points of view, anger, rage, fury, hate. I think I got most of them. And great, Eva posted the link to the book and the access shop. But you can see how with all of those energies, like all of those different things, right? It's like basically that's what you get to have here. You get to have like the definition of relationship, the definition of love, the definition of life and dying and or death and reality. And then you get to the range of emotions you get to have is anger, rage, fury, hate, fear, doubt. Business is a distractor implant. I don't think I said that one. Addictive, obsessive, compulsive, perverted points of view, fear, doubt. I can't remember which ones I'm repeating now, but what I want to look at specifically and just give you guys a little bit of information about and everybody in the future is doubt and fear, because doubt and fear are distractor implants. Now, what is an implant anyway? An implant is basically something that has been basically kind of impelled into your being and your body. Like it kind of takes up space in your body in a way, like it lives in your body, and it seems so real that you would never think that it wasn't. You would never wonder if it wasn't. Like, this is just how things are. But what happens is their distractor implants are things that we cannot handle. There's no way to get out of them other than clearing them and then recognizing that you're in one and choosing something different. So, and the design of them is to keep us compliant in this reality. It's to keep us in this reality. So we can use fear, because here's this, let's pretend like this is this reality, right? And you can't go beyond the edges of it, right? This like stratification of this reality. When you do, distractor implants will, like, someone will use them against you, or the world will use them against you, or you will use them against you, and you'll go into doubt, or you'll go into fear or regret or shame or whatever, and you'll come back here. It keeps you always here. And so everything, all of that is, can we destroy and uncreate it? Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, puck, pod, shorts, boys and beyonds. And so doubt being a huge one, right? You have all this awareness. There's all these universes of awareness and energies and information and things that you know going on in your world. You look out in the world, doesn't match. You're aware of a lie, but nobody has ever told you that, or, not when you were a kid or whatever. And then all of a sudden you just go straight into doubt. And because you could, if you stayed with this nonverbal energetic universe that you're aware of, you would become more potent. You would become more capable of changing things. You would become immune to this reality, and then inspire other people to that choice as well. So one of the things about distractor implants is they are designed to keep you from your potency. And what is your potency? It's your awareness. It's your being. So the design of them is to keep you here in this reality, distracted by something that you can't handle, doubt. How do you get out of doubt? Have you ever gotten out of doubt by like hashing it over so many times that it, like, you got out of doubt? Or have you just chosen, and this is where choice comes in, where you go, oh, I'm in this reality. I'm distracted from my potency. I'm going to say, fuck that. I'm in a distractor implant, clear it, puck and pod, I'm not going to doubt myself, or with fear, same thing, and the world is using fear very dynamically right now. It's dynamically being impelled against everybody into, like, as a real, it's basically being used as a cover up to take our freedoms away, like, by the governments around the world. I mean, it's being done in a hugely kind of bizarrely organized way right now. And in a way that we're like, wait, how could that? People are like, but no, conspiracy theories, right? But that's because you're not allowed to be aware of what's going on. It's because you wouldn't ever do that. You would never choose that in a million years to function from any of those spaces. So why would anybody else? Doesn't make sense. Yeah, guess what, guys? Most of the world does not make sense to you, and that's the greatness of you. So when you go beyond doubt, when you go beyond fear, when you go beyond the distraction of those things and you go, oh, fear, okay. Fear is either a distractor implant or it's excitement that you've misidentified, right? And a lot of times people get so excited about something coming up, some possibility, and it has this real similarity neurologically to fear. So we misidentify it as fear, and then we're stuck, you know, instead of going, oh, that's not fear, that's excitement. I'm going to keep going, you know? So as we, like I said, the only way to go beyond this is choice, which is also one of your greatest superpowers, is to have choice. Right now, choice is being taken away large scale in the world. And that does not have to be the case for us. Choice is always a choice. You have the choice for choice, always. We all do. But you cannot be living in distraction and be choosing. They're sort of mutually exclusive universes. You're either compliant in this reality and distractible so that you'll put all your attention on like, okay, so the fear of the virus and the fear of the economy and the fear, I need to handle it. I need to handle it. I need to handle it. Well, how much of my own awareness can I have? How much like silence and how much access do I have to the ocean of awareness and the universe of awareness and the possibilities and the creative juice and the new reality that I know we can create and everything that I desire and the joy of living and the like vibrancy of being alive that is available to us right now. How much of that can I access when I'm doing this, when I'm like, oh my God, I might die. I might be broke. Oh my God, I need to be protected. None. It's a brilliant design, except remember how consciousness is the only thing that can't be destroyed? Well, when you know about distractions and you know about these distractor implants and you know what fear actually is and what doubt actually is and death actually is and reality actually is and business and all of these things, right? You know what they actually are from a distraction point of view. Then you can be like, not interested. Now, you might have been wondering in the very beginning when I said you're the most potent people on the planet. We are, like all of us, everybody asking for something different. Well, what would occur in the world? What would the world be like? And what would actually occur if everybody who has this kind of awareness went just, no, thank you. I'm not going to do distraction anymore. No, thanks. What would occur? The powers that be would actually be the powers that actually be, which is us and consciousness. And it already is. I want to be really clear about that. This is already occurring dynamically. And a lot of times when there's a big change, there's a big bubbling up of all the shit that doesn't work. Have you ever had your life kind of fall apart and then after that's over, it's fucking more phenomenal than it's ever been? You know, probably all of us, right? Well, hello, that is what is occurring in the world right now. And it is still up to us to continually choose every single day to nurture the future that we know is possible, that you know is possible. because the future that you know is possible is going to be different than the future that I know is possible, than somebody else knows is possible. But it's not about coming to alignment and agreement anymore. I mean, have you noticed that, we've never been able to all agree in the world on like how to do things, right? Yeah, that's because that's not going to be something that's ever going to happen. That's not desirable. And the whole like vaccine against fundamental religiousness, like, I'm like, I mean, vaccinating people against their right to have their point of view. And I mean, has fundamental religiousness created some crap in the world? Absolutely, but control, like altering people's genetics and turning them into basically robots is not gonna handle that. It's gonna perpetuate the war, and the wars that have been going on. It's instead going, yeah, we can all have our points of view. And I know there is a way for us to live on this planet in such a way where consciousness is the dominant energy. And, we've been calling this the year of consciousness, 2021, the year of consciousness. The year where consciousness, like there's a tipping of the scales, and there already has been. And this is the kind of thing where there's this real kind of snowball effect, there's this momentum that keeps, that 100th monkey kind of thing, where it's just like, we're there, guys, like we're there. And please, it's not the time to sit back and go, okay, cool. I mean, yes, it is actually the time to relax. It is a time to relax into being. And it will seem like, I feel like I never really do anything and I'm always engaged, it's this letting go of like the mechanics of doing and the doing that comes from the mind and all of that, and into the relaxation of being and receiving that allows us to show up every day and go, oh, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, like this Zoom is like, oh my God, I was so excited and it just popped a few weeks ago. And Marquetta, thank you so much for, she was just like, let's do this, and she was a big part of organizing it, and all the translators and my whole team and everything. Like, it's been an amazing creation. But we all, like, there's just this sense of all of us going, yeah, let's get this conversation into the world, and there's so many conversations like this happening, so many different facilitators in access consciousness and different, all these other people, Zach Bush and Robert Kennedy and Judy Mikovits and all these people that are having different conversations that are a contribution. But that's the beauty of the difference that we be. It's not about being the same. It's about being different and being celebrating ourselves for that and being celebrated for that, which allows us to then create a completely different world where every single one of us is acknowledged for the beauty of us and not abused for being, whatever, just for being, ending the tyranny of the abuse of being that has been occurring on this planet for a long time, that has escalated lately. And every single one of us choosing every day to go, you know what? It stops with me. It stops with me. And now you might be inspired and you might be, whatever. I I won't even say that. Delete, erase. But what I was about to say, but it stops, like, if you want it to stop with you, please stop judging yourself. Please stop doubting yourself. Please stop doing the distraction. Read the book if you even if you've read it or whatever, read it again, and what if you woke up every morning and you had the joy of exploring the universe of you, the universe of your awareness. And no matter if you have a job that you have to go to and you don't like it or whatever, you know, even if that's the case, it's like you still have choice. You still have choice every single day, every single moment. What would I like to create here? What would I like to choose here? And every time you go, oh, I suck. And then you go, wait a minute, hold on. No. What's right about me that I'm not getting? Every time you do that, you nurture the universe of the reality of possibilities beyond this reality that is emerging right now. You contribute to it in a huge way. The world will not get greater by you judging yourself and like giving to other people. That doesn't work, guys, because it's not actual contribution. Actual contribution has this multiverse of gifting and receiving. Please include you in that. Please choose the joy of living, the joy of being alive, the joy of this beautiful planet, the joy of your body, the joy of having choice, the joy of awareness, which is, you know, not something that a lot of us have found to be joyful. It has, for many of us, seemed to be a burden to have so much awareness, but it actually is your greatest superpower. And it's where you have access to the joy that is true for you. And that is going to open up the world so dynamically. That's where we ignore this reality and we create a new one. And we acknowledge that we already are. We already are. And the more we acknowledge it, the more it will grow. So I just talked for an hour straight, as I do. So thank you guys for being here. Please, we'll put this, you know, on YouTube and all of that kind of stuff. So please, if this was a contribution to you, share it. And you can also share the link where you signed up, because that will also put people in my database. And that would be wonderful if people want to stay in touch with, you know, future creations and stuff like that. The link is heathernichols.com/ourfuture. And all the languages will be there as well, you know, after the call. So, and we have lots of upcoming things. Tomorrow, we're starting a 30-day series. It's called Pulling for a Greater World. So to me, this is like the beginning. And we're going to be doing energy pulls every day in a private Facebook group, just playing with the energetics of all of this and like diving into this 20-minute videos every day for a month, more conversations on this. There's an X-Men class this weekend. There's a Sex and Bodies class next week. There's all kinds of amazing stuff coming up. So we'll send out some of that stuff to you guys in the email with the recording. But just thank you for you. And oh yeah, heathernichols.com/greaterworld. If you want to check that out for tomorrow. But really, thank you guys. It is such an absolute honor and privilege and joy to get to create these conversations, these energies, these possibilities with people like you across the world. I am so incredibly grateful for that and for you and for this incredible like network of consciousness that we create every day, whether you're on Zoom or not, or on social media or not. Like, we're creating it every day, just from your willingness to be and your ask and your demand for something greater in the world. So just thank you, really thank you. You are far more phenomenal than you probably realize, and I'm very grateful. So thank you, thank you. Year of 2021, year of consciousness, 2021. Here we go. Game on. This is where we all go, break. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ava.
Thank you.
Berry ist eine Stadt im Landkreis Wallow-Glamorgan in Wales.